Hey guys, this is not an official episode that I'm doing here. This is just a little thoughts on some news of the day that I had seen online that I just have pulled up literally right here on my computer, which I'm shooting this on my iPad, so people are confused where I'm shooting this. But this is the news story that I want to talk about is a story about America's most punchable senator, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, has proposed a bill in the Senate, the exact constitutional amendment, which would establish term limits for both congressmen and senators. And I'm kind of ambivalent about the idea, kind of torn. I think that on the one hand, yes, it would reduce incumbency rates, and it would mean more people would be elected to office, in total number of people that we have ever elected to office, and it could benefit third parties in some regards. And the current incumbent advantage is a serious problem we have right now. Congress's incumbency rate is about 90%, while its popularity is consistently only in the teens. And you can see that this is a clear problem. If it's only about 10% popular with like 10% or 18% or whatever it is of the population, only like 10% or 18% of the congressmen should be getting reelected. It should just follow. But that doesn't happen because of incumbent advantage. It becomes very hard for outsiders to get elected, and so incumbents tend to hold their position because people just feel it's safer. But on the other hand, this would remove some of the most progressive congressmen that we have. Senator John Conyers, for example, he's served way more than 3 terms. He's the longest serving congressman in there right now. But then it would also mean that we would have less experienced congressmen every 12 or every 6 years, which is a serious problem. So personally, I'm still torn on whether or not I support this amendment. I think that it is a good thing that we're having this discussion about changing the Constitution. We're no longer treating the Constitution as infallible, because remember, Ted Cruz billed himself as a constitutionalist, but now he's talking about changing the Constitution, which is a very different thing for them. So I'm all for that, having a conversation with rampant constitutionalists and socialists and libertarians and everybody about changes to the U.S. Constitution, which I believe are desperately needed. And I think that we need to be taking this conversation further into a new constitutional convention where we need to clarify things like the role that money plays in politics, where we can clarify what the U.S. actually is supposed to be. It never says the word republic or democracy in there. I think that we need to clarify this is a federal democratic republic. That is a very important thing. And this is a good conversation that we're having now that we have this amendment proposed, that we are talking about incumbency and the problems therein. I think a better solution for this, though, is not in term limits alone. I think term limits for senators, yes. And I think that they could be able to spread out their terms a little bit, at least have one break term or cooling off period. I think that would be a very good idea. It would help reduce corruption in a lot of ways. And as a state, as I live in a state where one of the senators doesn't even live in Kansas anymore, in our state anymore, Pat Roberts, he just lives in Virginia and maintains a residence that he doesn't actually stay in Kansas. I think that he's been in there long enough, and he would be kicked out by this amendment. That would probably be a good thing to have term limits on senators. But for congressmen, I think a better solution would be to go to a multi-member proportional system where states would have larger districts, and then we would elect at least 3, some places might have as many as 5 representatives using the single transferable vote. I'll post a link to CGP Grey, I believe is his name, CGP Grey's video on STV, which is a very good system in my opinion. And use that, and then we should also make both congressmen and senators elected to 4-year terms instead of the current 2 years for congressmen and 6 years for senators. I think having them elected at the same time, not in the same year as the presidential year, so we have them all elected in what we would call midterm elections, and then the presidential election, just the president, only one office that year. And then we elect our federal representatives all at once. I think that would be a better option altogether, and I think that this would help solve a lot of our problems with incumbency, and it would reduce incumbent advantage as it currently exists. It would also benefit third parties, make our system more proportional, make our system more representative of the people's views, and it would be a better system altogether. I think we need to really be having this conversation about the Constitution and whether or not we should be changing the Constitution. This is a serious problem that we have not addressed really ever. And I think that we need to start saying maybe we should have a new constitutional convention to make the changes that really have never come up. So this has just been an impromptu episode of my thoughts on this bill. I made this all up. There's no script on this. Please like and subscribe. Does not count as an episode, so it won't be on the new playlist that I'm making with all of my other episodes of Left Out Liberal. But I want to encourage you guys to follow this bill, which has not even been numbered yet. It's just a SJ Res, a Senate Judicial Resolution, and one of the first bills proposed in the Senate this session. Follow it, see where it goes, see where other constitutional amendments, like the one Senator Sanders has proposed, and the We the People Amendment, which has been proposed in the House, which I am a big supporter of myself. Just watch how these amendments do over the years. Maybe this will help jumpstart a new conversation about constitutional amendments and whether or not we really do need to change the Constitution, which I think we do. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments, and have a great day. Solidarity.